I awoke with my head against a hard surface, extremely sore after a poor night's sleep. Ow, my face. Still hazy, I looked down to find that I had fallen asleep on my tablet. The research papers and dinner plate were still on the coffee table, although they'd been disturbed by my movements as I slept. What time was it? I poked the tablet screen with my index finger and noted the time, 4:30 a.m. My stomach grumbled loudly. I clearly hadn't eaten enough for dinner the night before. Breakfast wasn't going to be for a few more hours, so I decided to get a snack and go back to sleep for a few more hours before breakfast. I dragged myself off the floor and through the door towards the kitchen. I barely managed to keep my eyes open as I shuffled down the halls, finding my way there purely by instinct. At long last, I staggered into the kitchen and stuck my head into the fridge. What should I eat?
Shizuka, is that you?
Huh? I pulled my head out of the fridge and saw Katashi standing in the doorway. Nah, it's just me. I'm just grabbing a snack. I'll be out your way in a sec. Katashi just stood there stunned. All color drained from his face as his features contorted into an expression of sheer panic. A split second later, Dai appeared in the kitchen with a satisfied smile on her face.
Consider yourselves sprung, you two.
Wait a minute, Dai. It was a mistake, and I was half asleep.
We didn't talk about anything game-related.
It doesn't matter.
I thought he was Shizuka.
Save it. You broke the rules. I will now hand down my punishment.
Hold on, punish me. I'm the one who spoke first.
Don't be ridiculous, Katashi. Punish me, Dai. I'm the one who was careless. Dai's voice broke as she replied.
You guys would really sacrifice yourselves to save each other?
Of course we would.
Even though you're on different teams?
We might be on different teams, but he shouldn't have to suffer because of my actions. Dai sniffled as she wiped away a stray tear.
I think that's beautiful.
Dai began to sob. Evil mastermind or not, it was an unpleasant sight to see. Against my better judgment, I asked the obvious question. Dai, are you okay? Her response was surprisingly matter-of-fact.
Me?
Yeah, are you okay? Dai's crocodile tears gave way to tears of mirth.
I'm better than okay. You two just broke the rules and now it's punishment time. Now, are you ready for this?
Katashi sighed.
Just get it over with already.
Very well.
The intercom system crackled to life and Dai's voice filled the ship.
Good morning, sleepyheads. I need you all to report to the dining hall within the next 30 minutes. I repeat, everyone is to report to the dining hall within the next 30 minutes. Over and out.
Dai cocked her head and smiled at Katashi and me.
Now, even though you've already broken the rules, you are not to continue communicating, or else there will be an even more serious punishment, okay?
Dai, why are you getting the whole crew involved?
This is a team game, isn't it? Now, 30 minutes. No more chit-chat. I would go find your teams if I was you.
With those words, Dai began to dissipate until there was nothing left but her Cheshire cat smile hanging in midair. The next instant, it was gone. I looked over at Katashi, trying my best to silently communicate my feelings with an apologetic expression. He nodded in mute understanding, hitched his thumb toward the door, and exited the kitchen. I needed to find my team, and it looked like I owed them an apology. I made my way to Beatrix and Nicholas's quarters, where I found Yoshiki sitting outside their door.
Do you have any idea what's going on?
I screwed up, sorry.
What? What do you mean?
The door to Beatrix and Nicholas's quarters slid open and both siblings emerged.
What happened?
I made a mistake.
What do you mean you made a mistake?
Nicholas was shifting his weight while cleaning his glasses, clearly still half asleep.
Beatrix, you need to calm down.
Nicholas, it's 4:30 a.m.
All the more reason for you to calm down. We need to fully understand the gravity of the situation.
Nicholas calmly placed his glasses on the bridge of his nose and took a deep breath before turning to address me.
Please fill us in on what's happened. Start from the beginning.
Long story short, I spoke to someone on the other team and Dai caught us.
You were betraying us?
Beatrix approached within a few centimeters of me and looked me right in the eye. Her anger was palpable, radiating from her body in waves.
Beatrix, let him explain himself.
Beatrix reluctantly withdrew, continuing to stare daggers at me from across the hall.
No, he would never do that. Right?
No, I wasn't betraying anyone.
Then what happened?
I woke up hungry this morning, so I went to the kitchen to grab a snack. As I was looking through the fridge, Katashi walked in and spoke to me, mistaking me for Shizuka.
So, Katashi spoke first.
Yes, and I was stupid enough to respond. Before I knew it, Dai appeared in the kitchen and gave us the third degree for breaking the rules. Apparently we need to be punished, and both our teams have to come along for the ride.
Is that everything?
Yes, you heard the rest over the intercom.
So this is all just one huge mistake then?
Mistake or not, the entire crew stands to suffer for it. It would be one thing if Katashi and I were the only ones being held accountable for our actions. But from the sound of things, Dai's gone and summoned everyone to the weekly deletion game.
You'd better hope this punishment kills you, or else I will afterwards.
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen.
I understand. We'll get through this. Don't worry about Beatrix. She's not a morning person on the best of days. Now, let's all head over to the dining hall and hear what this punishment is.
Don't worry. I don't blame you. Anyone could have made the same mistake.
Thanks, Yoshiki, but I still feel terrible about it. After doing some last-minute preparations, the team headed towards the dining hall. Once we arrived, we saw the other team had already gathered and were awaiting our arrival. Dai surveyed the new arrivals from her vantage point near the center of the room.
Welcome, welcome. It's about time Team A decided to grace us with their presence. As I'm sure you are already aware, the rule forbidding communication between teams has been broken, which is why you've all been summoned here this morning.
Dai looked at each of the crew members in turn, her gaze finally coming to rest on Beatrix.
Oh, dearie me, Trixie. You're looking a bit rough around the edges this morning.
Beatrix glared at Dai before directing her anger in my direction.
I just wish that people would have the courtesy to break the rules at a more sensible hour.
Oh, Trixie, you're such a hoot. Well, I'd say that's more than enough pleasantries for now. On to the punishment.
What if you just punished the two of us?
I agree, there's no need to involve the rest of the crew.
I already told you that this is a team sport. Now, the punishment for breaking the rules is
The room fell completely silent as we waited with bated breath.
the deletion game.
Dai spread her arms theatrically as she made this declaration. The room remained silent.
What do you mean?
Oh, sorry. Was I not clear enough? Allow me to explain. Instead of holding this round of the deletion game on Sunday as planned, we'll be playing it right now.
But most of us are still half asleep.
So, it's no skin off my nose.
The captain took a moment to consider her words before pursuing her argument.
Dai, if multiple crew members are half asleep during the current round, not only would it affect our ability to play the game, it could lead to something terrible.
Like their deaths?
Much worse, I'm afraid.
What could possibly be worse? Don't keep me in suspense.
Dai's eyes lit up at the gruesome possibilities.
If everyone is half asleep, no one will perform well, and the game, well, the game would be boring.
Dai gasped, completely taken aback.
Boring? No, 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 no. The game can't be boring. Games are supposed to be fun.
Kimiko shrugged noncommittally.
I know, but I guess there's no helping it now.
Although Dai was doing her best to maintain her composure, it was clear Kimiko's argument had touched a nerve.
All right, all right. I'll give you all an extra hour to wake up and prepare so that you can all bring your A game, okay? But that's the best I can do under the circumstances.
That sounds fair. I'm sure we can all make do with that.
Everyone seated at the table nodded in unison. With these new terms established, Dai seemed to regain her usual composure.
Okay, good. You are to return here in an hour for the first round. Until then, however, you are still forbidden from communicating with each other. Oh, and Trixie,
What?
is an hour long enough for you to fix this?
Dai made a vague circular gesture with her index finger in Beatrix's general direction, screwing up her face in disgust. Beatrix stormed towards Dai, her eyes filled with murderous intent.
I'll fix you.
Nicholas shook his head in disapproval and grabbed his sister's arm as she began to edge closer to Dai. With a self-satisfied smile, Dai's form dissipated before their eyes. Beatrix let out a frustrated cry as she wrenched her arm free from Nicholas's grasp.
Now isn't the time for this. We need to prepare for the first round or we'll be putting ourselves at a serious disadvantage. Let's head to the rec room and work out our strategy.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yoshiki grabbed my hand and pulled me out of the dining hall towards the rec room.
Why Why are you being so quiet?
I just sentenced someone to death today.
Someone was going to die anyway, right? So it isn't your fault.
I robbed them of 3 days.
Thinking about it like that will just drive you crazy. For now, let's just try and focus on winning as a team.
Yoshiki flashed me a winning smile. As awful as I felt, I appreciated that he was making an effort to cheer me up. Mustering what little enthusiasm I could, I managed a weak smile. Okay, let's win this thing. We arrived at the rec room and Nicholas immediately started discussing our strategy.
I've been considering 2 particular strategies.
Alright, let's hear them.
Our first option is to go through the rounds with 2 people on 0 each time in order to spread the points over the other 2. In doing so, we'd increase their personal pools and hopefully win the rounds, assuming the other team decides to spread their points over all 4 people.
And our other option?
Assume they're doing what I just described, and spread out our points over all 4 of us.
How would we go about spreading our points?
We'd have to play it by ear, until we saw the results of the first round.
That makes sense. No point nailing down a plan when there are so many variables in play.
Dai suddenly chimed in over the intercom system.
Please assemble in the dining hall for this week's deletion game. Round 1 starts in 5 minutes. Woo!
That certainly didn't feel like an hour.
It wasn't. It appears she's only given us half an hour.
What? But that's not fair!
Well, she was going to make us play on the spot. A half hour is still better than nothing.
I guess.
Okay, let's make our way over now.
For the second time that morning, we headed to the dining hall where we'd be forced to play the deletion game once again. We arrived to find Dai lazing about, gazing at her nails disinterestedly.
Oh goody, everyone's here. Now I know I said an hour, but just look at you all. There's nothing quite like the risk of death to wake you up in a hurry, is there? All right, let's play.
Very well, Dai. Let's get this over with.
I love your fighting spirit. Okay, so what I will need is for you all to wait outside during the other team's turn.
You'll get up to 5 minutes at the room to decide on your points allocation, then after that you can input your choices on the main terminal. However, all hands left be placed on the terminal in agreeance.
Team A, you are up first. Team B, get out.
The members of Team B hastily left the dining hall and left us alone with Dai in the dining hall. That's a little awkward. The dining table now projected a shimmering holographic terminal.
Your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay, I've put together promising configurations. Please choose whichever one you prefer.
I'm gonna try this one.
Is everyone in agreement?
Yes.
Yep.
We're gonna see if this is as broken as it was originally. I input the allocation using the terminal and everyone else puts their palms on theirs to approve it.
Thank you for your entry. Please exit the dining hall so that stinky Team B can assign their points.
We quickly shuffled out of the dining hall and Team B entered for their turn. We went out into the corridor, Team B passing us as they went in. I couldn't look at them. Deep down I was hoping for a result that meant one of them would be killed.
I hate this game.
I hate all the games. The door opened for us. Team B must have gone in with a clearly defined strategy. They must have barely talked at all before putting in their choice. We went back in and sat down, ready to hear the worst.
Why, hello, contestants. I didn't see you there.
Dai laughed to herself before continuing.
Both teams have now inputted their selection, and so it is my pleasure and my privilege to announce the results of Round 1. And the winner of Round 1 is... Congrats, Team A! Strong start. Your tablets will now display your team's individual points.
They went for the 1-3-3-3.
Ah, the suspense is killing me. Let's move on to Round 2. Your tablets will...
So that should
the
be a win
suspense
for
is
them,
killing
actually,
me.
yeah.
Let Team A...
Dai appeared to walk through the walls as we made our way back into the dining hall.
Your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay, we started strong. Let's keep this up.
What are your suggestions for this round?
My suggestions are...
I input the allocation using the terminal and everyone else placed their palms to approve it.
Thank you for your entry. Please exit the dining hall so that stinky Team B can assign their points.
That should be on theirs, not the double theirs.
If you would be so kind as to draw your attention to this screen.
Dai projected a screen using the same light she was made of. And the winner of round 2 is... They went 2, 2, 2, 4. So that should be their victory.
Ah! Team A, you are my hero! Let's move on to round 3 then. Team A, you are up again. Please follow me.
Dai appeared to walk through the walls. We made our way back into the dining hall. So keep in mind, with 2 points, we should already have won.
Your 5 minutes starts now.
We might be safe.
One more round before we can count our chickens, Yoshiki. Heading into the final battle, I suggest.
We're looking for 3007.
Congratulations, Team A! After 3 rounds, you have come out victorious. And that means, Team B, you lose. Congrats!
I imagine Katashi dies here. I am so sorry.
Enough of that. Now for the prize winner. Congratulations, Katashi!
Now, in case you're wondering, I'm predicting Yoshiki dies if we lose because their routes are on that 3rd tree.
All right, well, let's get to it. But first, just let me take the time to really congratulate all of our winners and our losers. Isn't teamwork just the greatest?
Shizuka's face swelled with grief as she approached Katashi and grabbed hold of one of his shirt sleeves.
Tashi, I'm so sorry. I thought our strategy would work.
Should have.
It's not your fault, kiddo, so don't sweat it. I approve the numbers. Same as you.
I shouldn't lose. This is a game. Why am I losing?
You didn't lose, kiddo. This was just practice, okay? I know you can win the next round.
Katashi patted Shizuka on the head as she began to weep.
Supposed to lose.
I'm sorry, Katashi. I tried to ensure we all had points.
I know you did, Captain. But as you said, it was important that we protect Melody. And we did. Besides, it's quite fitting, isn't it? After all, I was the one who triggered the game to start early in the first place.
Shizuka shuffled to the back of the crowd. Although she was doing her best to hide her face, I could hear her quietly crying. Dai meaningfully cleared her throat.
Yes, I agree. Super fitting. Now let's get on with it.
Dai materialized the wheel in front of her and started spinning it immediately. Her eyes widened as she watched it spin. Tick, tick, tick.
Oh, how fitting, Katashi. You're going to be cooked to death.
Can't come up with anything new, eh, Dai?
Excuse me?
I'm not the first person to die from being cooked.
Katashi, don't be insensitive.
The captain placed a reassuring hand on the back of Melody's head. Melody was planted firmly at Kimiko's side, grabbing tight to the captain's legs with both arms. Katashi glanced sheepishly at Melody before meeting the captain's gaze.
Sorry about that. I'm about to die, though. So can you forgive me this once, Captain?
Katashi looked at the captain playfully.
Of course.
The captain did her best to force a smile.
I will have you know, Mr. Space Farmer. Not that that is even a real job. I have arranged a way to cook you without needing to resort to what happened last time.
Oh?
You know, I spend so much time every week trying to come up with interesting ways for you all to die. And this is the thanks I get? You know I am not phoning this in, right? Why does no one appreciate my creativity?
Because they've seen Game 5. Dai's anger suddenly turned to tears.
I even spend hours designing the deletion game rounds. You all.
Everyone in the room looked at each other confused.
You don't ever have to play the same game twice. But still, no one thanks me.
Aw, don't say that, Dai. I'm sure we all appreciate how hard you work for us.
Really?
No.
Yoshiki!
The captain gave Yoshiki a scathing look, causing Yoshiki to snap out of his momentary lapse in judgment.
Sorry. You know I can't handle it when people cry. Especially girls.
The captain seemed both angered and baffled by his stupidity.
Excuse me, Captain, but Yoshiki and I were having a beautiful moment.
Dai turned her attention back to Yoshiki.
You know what, Yoshiki? I will remember your kindness.
Huh?
Yeah.
When I kill you, I will stay with you and cheer you on until you eventually stop breathing.
Aw, how romantic.
I will even pretend to mourn for you. Isn't that sweet?
Yoshiki let out a nervous laugh.
Yeah, I guess it is. I appreciate it, Dai.
Katashi cleared his throat, reminding everyone of the task at hand.
Oh, how unthoughtful of me. I should be focusing on the man of the hour.
So, how exactly is this going to happen?
Well, first we will...
Wait. Forget it. I don't want to know.
Ah, I hear you. You want to learn through experience.
Dai winked at Katashi.
All right, everyone. Let's all head to the kitchen.
The kitchen? Dai, I hate to disappoint you, but I won't fit in the oven.
Shh, you already said you didn't want to know. Now onwards.
Everyone marched solemnly out of the dining hall towards the kitchen, which was close by. It wasn't even a few minutes that passed before we arrived. Okay, so what I need is for everyone to stand outside the kitchen. Whatever you do, don't go inside. Stay out here in the hallway. Although everyone looked puzzled, we nonetheless complied, remaining where we were in the hallway. Now, Katashi, if you would please make your way into the kitchen. Pretty fitting for the space farmer, am I right, folks? Katashi was entering the kitchen when Shizuka stopped by him by tugging on his arm.
I'm sorry.
Shizuka refused to lift her head. Tears streaming down her face, eyes riveted to the floor.
Kiddo, I said it's more than okay. Now come on, chin up.
Katashi lifted her head with his hand under her chin to make eye contact.
What is our motto? What happens when we fail?
You die?
Katashi let out a humorless laugh.
Well, in this instance, yes, but I meant in general. What happens when we fail?
Learn. Retry. Succeed.
That's right. We learn, we retry, and we succeed.
Just fix it the first time and you'll be done.
I'm just leaving the learning to you, kid. So make sure to win, okay?
Shizuka's tears dried up as she fought back further tears.
I'll do it. I'll win this whole thing.
That's the spirit.
Katashi patted Shizuka on the head for the last time and then stepped into the kitchen.
Officer Ikari, you have served the Everett well. We thank you for your service. Salute!
We all saluted Katashi as the door to the kitchen was sealed off by Dai. About time, people. The kitchen has been locked down. Temperature control systems now perform a complete disinfection cycle. Huh? Disinfection cycle? How rude to me. Sometimes I forget that you ran away with your coward parents and know very little about the ship. A disinfection cycle is an operation that can occur in any part of the ship. It isolates a part of the ship and heats it up using the temperature control system to kill any live viruses and bacteria. Why would the ship even be able to do that? Huh? Why? Why? Isn't that obvious? Let's imagine for a moment that we found you drifting through space. You were infected with, say, the bubonic plague. If we didn't have a cure on board, we need to get rid of that real quick to limit the spread of infection to the rest of the crew. So we just quarantine you and your disease and cook you, just like that. No more disease, or you for that matter. That's so... Back me up, Captain. You know the protocol. Wait, really? If I was sick?
It isn't personal. I need to protect the crew, and if you had an infectious disease that could transfer to the other crew members...
You would just kill me?
Enough! Who cares about you hypothetically dying? Katashi actually is, and all you care about is yourself! I don't care about what you have to say, just shut up!
The entire room fell quiet. In my peripheral vision, I could see Dai's smile growing. We stood in silence for almost half an hour. Disinfection cycle in kitchen complete. Temperature control has returned to normal. I believe what this automated system means is, ding, dinner's ready. The door of the kitchen swung open, and there we saw Katashi. Little bit of fan service for the ladies there. He attempted to lower his body temperature by removing his clothes down to his shorts. It hadn't worked. His slightly charred skin was a crispy brown color. I had already seen a human cooked once before. It wasn't any easier the second time. If I ever saw another again, it would be too soon. To everyone's surprise, there was an apple in his mouth that had weathered the cooking. A bit better than he did. Did it fall off the bench, or was he trying to have one last treat before he died? Shizuka ran in as soon as the door opened, immediately removing the apple from his mouth and trying to close his eyes, which wouldn't close.
Someone help me! He shouldn't just be left in here!
I wish I could, but you know, I'm made of light and all. Dai shrugged, a sly smile on her lips. Shizuka attempted to move Katashi, but she was so much smaller than he was that his body didn't even budge.
Move, damn it!
Shizuka became enraged. She was now flailing while tugging on his arm.
Shizuka, perhaps it would be best if you left him to us. We can take care of him.
What, like you took care of Katashi here? I think we can all agree that you're not taking care of anyone!
That doesn't make a lot of sense. The captain winced at her words, and the concern on her face melted away to reveal the stern captain had come to know.
Shizuka, return to your quarters at once.
No!
Refusing an order? This is getting interesting. By that point, Shizuka had a tight grip on Katashi's arm. The captain would have none of it. Growing visibly irritated, she approached Shizuka, staying only inches away from her.
Shizuka, you are to return to your quarters immediately.
So intense. Shizuka's eyes met with the captain's, and her moment of rebellion passed.
Understood.
Shizuka let go of Katashi's arm and left the kitchen without looking at anyone on the way out. And here I was hoping to see the two of you fight. You're no fun, Captain. Well, I'm bored now. It's been fun. I'll see you tomorrow for the next round of the deletion game. Toodles! Dai zapped out of the kitchen and left the rest of the crew standing silently.
Yoshiki, Nicholas, I trust that you two can move Katashi.
Of course. We'll see to it now.
Thank you. Beatrix, could you please give me some assistance with Melody today?
Yeah.
Thank you. Everyone is dismissed. Feel free to do as you please for the remainder of the day. I will be in my quarters if anyone needs me.
The captain left with Melody in tow, and I shortly followed suit. Friday morning had come. Felt like I'd been lying for a lifetime staring at the ceiling, but there was no escaping it. Blood was on my hands this time, and it wasn't coming off. Katashi's death was my fault. I couldn't shake the image of Shizuka holding onto Katashi's sleeve, her eyes glassy and full of tears. We hadn't really become friends since I'd been here, but everyone is dying and it's all my fault.
Really, Sailor? Got a secret you aren't sharing with me?
What? I was startled, but Beatrix was somehow in my room, staying at the edge of my bed. Beatrix, how? When?
Lost for words, I see. I have that effect on men.
Seriously, how are you in here? Better yet, how'd you get in without me noticing?
Oh, that. Yes, well...
Beatrix stood still and just stared at me, her face not moving an inch until she suddenly spoke again.
So why is it your fault?
You didn't answer my question.
I asked my question first. It's only fair.
Beatrix replied flippantly, as if it should be common practice. I begrudgingly agreed with her. I am the reason everyone is dying in the first place. Me arriving triggered Dai, and I'm the only one who spoke with Katashi and forced the game to begin.
Oh, is that all? I thought maybe you had some new information, or perhaps you were a traitor or something.
Beatrix raised her eyebrow in excitement at the idea of a traitor, which quickly stilled when she knew that was not the case. Is that all? My existence is why people are dead, and others will likely die. I hung my head, finding the tears I didn't want to shed in front of Beatrix.
Ah, I see. You're having a pity party. Well, Sailor, I do not care to partake in this waste of time.
I was a little taken back by her callousness. Beatrix turned on her heels as if to leave when she suddenly stopped. Hero? Hero? Yes, Beatrix?
You have two options. One, stay here and continue to cry over spilt milk. Or two, get out of bed and follow me.
Katashi is not spilt milk. Beatrix just shrugged at the comment nonchalantly and left my room. So it looks like we're on the Beatrix route, boys. Sit real quick to whip open the tree. Huh. That's a little interesting. I'm kind of curious if this changed. We'll go back eventually for it. I guess sitting here isn't helping anything. Okay, wait up, I'm coming. I jumped out of bed, threw on a t-shirt, and headed down the hall after Beatrix.
Done crying then?
Well, I think it's a bit harsh to compare Katashi to spilt milk, but I understand the overarching point of that comment.
Good. We have work to do.
What work? Beatrix stood dead still in the hallway and placed her hand next to her ear.
Listen.
I stood silently and heard nothing. I don't... Beatrix continued standing, listening. Suddenly, my stomach rumbled. Oh, sorry, I'm a bit hungry.
Bingo, sailor. That's what we're listening for.
My stomach?
Anyone's really. And now that our chef is gone and cooked himself up a storm, someone needs to feed the crew.
Beatrix smiled at her own joke. Beatrix, he died less than 24 hours ago.
What? Too soon?
Yes?
Well, too bad. I know he would have laughed.
I stood in amazement of how easily Beatrix was dealing with all this. I quickly snapped out of it as she started down the hallway towards the kitchen. As we arrived at the kitchen, I could see that she had clearly already spent some time in here before waking me up. How long have you been up?
A few hours, give or take.
Wait, have you even slept?
A little. Nicholas was insistent that I sleep, and so I did so, just to appease him.
Aren't you tired?
There is work to do, sailor. Beauty sleep is reserved for times of peace.
Wow, really? I thought you were much more vain than that. Beatrix shot a glare at me. Thought I was a dead man. My last words, wasted. Beatrix suddenly lined up.
Sailor, look at me. I've had a lifetime of beauty sleep. Skipping a few nights won't hurt my gorgeous good looks even in the slightest.
I guess you're right.
You, on the other hand? Sorry I woke you.
Apology accepted. Hey! Beatrix laughed to herself as she stood by the oven, lightly crackling pan in one hand, a spatula in the other.
Be a dear and get that cooling rack, will you?
She pointed with her face as she pulled the pan from the oven top. The sweet smell of pancakes soon filled the room as she moved them from pan to rack. I could feel myself salivating. My stomach suddenly grumbled loudly, even more than before. Sorry. Beatrix patted my stomach with a spatula.
Yes, it's coming. Sheesh.
Not very hygienic there, Beatrix. Should I go wake the others?
No. We will simply leave all the breakfast here, and when they are ready, they will help themselves.
Then why'd you wake me up? Beatrix smirked.
Well, if you must know.
Yes?
I was bored.
You wanted my company. Beatrix suddenly became sheepish.
No, I didn't. I just wanted to annoy someone, and who better than you?
Katashi. Oh, wait. Uh-huh.
Shut up and eat your pancakes.
I looked at the pancakes being thrust into my chest. I thought about arguing, but a second look at them had me change my mind. Yes, ma'am. Beatrix looked pleased as I delved into the pancakes, which were amazing. Didn't know I wanted them until now. Suddenly the room felt extremely tense. And where are mine, Trixie? Suddenly Di appeared before Beatrix and I.
Well, Di, it was a surprise, but...
A surprise? I love surprises. What is it? Tell me.
Beatrix sighed.
It's not a surprise if I tell you.
But, you were gonna?
But, I'm not going to anymore.
Beatrix mocked Di openly. Di's demeanor changed to that of someone who just had their dreams crushed.
If only I hadn't interrupted you, you would have told me.
Well, lesson learned. Now maybe, in the future, you will be more polite.
Try knocking. Di stopped and thought for a moment.
Unfortunately, I am not programmed for politeness. So, your options are, tell me now, or I kill you.
No.
Fine, I'll tell you.
Di leaned in intensely towards Beatrix.
Your pancakes
Yes?
are in hell, waiting for you.
Di smiled intensely.
Hell? Oh, silly Trixie.
Huh?
I understand your sentiment, but if heaven and hell exist as you humans understand it, I would not reside in hell upon my death.
What? Why not?
Well, one, I am not human, nor a creation of any god. My parents are humans, and just quietly, they are pretty poor at parenting.
At least they tried. I blame the schools.
2, I am programmed by humans. So if my directives are evil, then it would be the humans who created me that would face the consequences of your god or gods. And finally, and my favorite one, what I'm doing, as distasteful as it may seem to some, is actually for the greater good. In the human Christian faith, God killed humans many times for the greater good. I think we'd actually get along quite well.
Dai smiled wildly at Beatrix.
You think you're a god?
No, that's just silly. I am, however, in the definitive sense, your god. I am the greater power that controls and determines your life. And as your god, I command you to come to the dining hall for the next round of the Deletion Games rules explanation.
I will tell you what I told my own supposable god. You can get...
Dai disappeared as if not even acknowledging that Beatrix was talking to her. I placed what was left of my pancakes down on the counter and headed to the dining hall with Beatrix, whose face was still taut with anger. No, they can wait for pancakes. Jerks. I arrived at the dining hall once again to a sea of faces, each one looking as if they'd been handed a death sentence and were simply awaiting the executioner. I shuffled my way through to the back, where I took a seat and prepared myself for the over-the-top showboating that I was likely to bring once again.
Hello, hello! Can I get a hallelujah?
Halle!
The captain swiftly slapped Yoshiki across the back of the head and rolled her eyes as she shook her head in disbelief of his stupidity.
Ouchie!
Aw, Captain! You are such a spoil sport!
Just for that, she's hating Yoshiki again.
Yet,
Dai quickly talked over the captain before she could finish.
Get on with it, Jinx! Everyone heard me. We said the same thing. That means, Capitan, you can't talk till someone says your name.
What are you talking about?
It's an old human pastime that if you say the same thing as someone else, the first person of the two who calls Jinx makes the other person unable to talk until someone says their name. And if they do talk before their name is said, we get to punch them.
Why would we even do that?
Because that's the rules. Besides, you weird humans are the ones who made such a game, not me.
Weird is hurtful. We prefer bizarre.
Isn't that right, Captain?
Dai side glanced at the captain, who sat silently.
Captain?
The captain stared back intensely at Dai, who was now hovering in front of her face.
Are you just ignoring me? Or are you playing along? Wait, which is it?
Dai was starting to become irritated because she honestly didn't know.
How could she tell you if she was doing either without breaking her silence?
Dai
was lost for words as she contemplated what Nicholas just said.
Very well. Let's move on to this week's explanation of the deletion game. Or should I say, this Sunday's.
What do you mean Sunday? Don't we get like a week between them?
Well, you normally do, but you broke the rules last time, so now I've changed the scheduling.
But that's not fair!
Neither is being 5 foot nothing with a bad haircut, but I don't hear you complaining about that.
Well, at least she's not practicing military insurrection. Just saying. Shizuka's face turned scarlet red before she turned her face away from Dai, pouting, her head hung low.
She's got your number, Shizuka.
I wouldn't get too excited there, Trixie. You'd be lucky to be 5 foot nothing. At least you'd lose a few pounds.
Projection or not?
Beatrix didn't even finish her sentence before she leapt over the table and threw a fist through Dai's light projection. Dai laughing hysterically as Nicholas grabbed onto Beatrix and was pulling her back down from the table.
Trixie, you are too easy to play with.
Beatrix, calm yourself.
Beatrix shrugged Nicholas's hands off her and mocked him.
Beatrix, calm yourself.
Captain.
Captain looked over at Nicholas and shrugged as if wiping her hands of Beatrix's actions.
Really?
Ha! Daubing on me didn't work this time, eh, brother? Besides, she just saw what happened and didn't say a word.
Kimiko, please.
The captain smiled playfully as she stood up.
you will address me as Captain.
Beatrix continued to laugh at her brother.
But thank you.
Huh?
OMG, she was playing along.
In the future, Beatrix, when you throw your punches, be sure to land them.
Beatrix rolled her eyes at the captain as Dai was hopping on the spot, smiling giddily.
Explanation, please, Dai.
Captain, I was wrong about you. You can't be fun. Welcome to the next round of the deletion game. Vampire Children.
Interesting name.
Thank you, Shizuka. I made it myself. Now to business. Vampire Children is played over 3 cycles.
If you ever want to see the video, just look at the Yoshiki route.
One person will be chosen at random by me and be made the vampire. I'll tell this person in secret, and the 6 other people are humans. No one will know for sure who is a vampire and who is a human, other than themselves. During each cycle, you have the choice to either mate with another person or not. It's not compulsory, but definitely advisable.
No, it isn't.
However, you can't mate with the same person twice, even during different cycles. Where's the fun in that, right? Every time 2 humans mate, 2 children are born. When 1 human and 1 vampire mate, no children are born, but that human becomes a vampire for life. And for point's sake, a vampire child. If 2 vampires mate, nothing happens except a good time. Only the original vampire will know that they're a vampire. Humans who unknowingly mate with a vampire won't know until the end of the game. After each cycle, I will announce the total count, human babies produced, and new vampires created. After 3 cycles, the human and vampire children counts will be tallied. If there are more vampire children than humans, the human that created the fewest human babies will be executed. If more human babies exist, the starting vampire will be executed. Now, 1 versus 6 can seem lonely, so here's my offer to the soon-to-be vampire. The vampire can choose a Bonnie to their Clyde. This person will knowingly and willingly become a vampire in the first round, and will win and lose alongside the vampire. If the vampire wins, so do they, and so they are spared from death. But if the vampire loses, so does that person, and we have a double execution. Be careful though, your Bonnie and Clyde dreams may be short-lived, and your partner might out you as the vampire. So, tell others at your own risk. I will notify you of your human or vampire status sometime before the game begins on Sunday morning. This is my favorite game to date. Any questions? Need me to repeat?
Nah, we're good.
Excellent.
Di suddenly zapped out of the room and the broadcast opened overhead, where we could all hear Di using her best customer service voice.
We understand that you have a choice in Deletion Game Carrier, and want to thank you all so much for choosing the Die Deletion Game service. We murder for your satisfaction, and we look forward to servicing you again this Sunday.
I woke to what felt like a torch being shown in my face. I started wincing as light penetrated my eyelids. What are you doing?
Doing? I am but standing.
I struggled to open my eyes as the light was so abrasive. Once I had my eyes open, I realized that the light was simply I. She was standing over my bed with her face close to mine. So close, her presence was literally uncomfortable. Not so close this early, okay?
Yes, of course. My apologies.
I closed my eyes and attempted to go back to sleep, hoping that I was simply there and had no business with me. Maybe she just liked watching me sleep. I hoped that was it. I was exhausted. I tensed with my eyes closed as I hoped she wouldn't speak. Moments passed. Maybe she was gone. I felt my whole body relax, though preparing to sleep once again.
Excuse me. The captain has requested to see you in the bridge. Are you okay?
I sighed, sitting up. So much for the dream of her just watching me sleep. Yes, what time is it?
It is 4:45 a.m. Shall I tell the captain you are on your way?
What could the captain want at this hour?
I believe she has concerns about our location in relation to the black hole and is looking for reaffirmation.
What? I'm not the navigator. That's Shizuka's deal. I flung myself back into the bed and pulled my pillow over my face. I heard I pretending to clear her throat before playing back what the captain must have said.
Bring me them. We are getting awfully close to this black hole, and I am getting somewhat apprehensive. Shizuka is a great navigator, and she has done this many times before. But still. Why are you still standing there? Get me them.
I groaned and threw the pillow off my face, sitting back up on the bed. Can't we almost die another day when I've had more sleep?
Should I ask her to postpone almost dying?
Yes. Sweet science, no. Asking her that would just result in me dying today.
So shall I tell her you will be there soon?
Yes, please. I will be there in just a moment. Thanks, I bowed and zapped herself on my room, which fell back into darkness as the illumination disappeared with her. Maybe dying wouldn't be so bad. That means uninterrupted sleep, after all. I smiled to myself for a moment before pulling myself out of bed and heading towards the bridge. I arrived at the bridge just in time to catch the captain who, assuming she was alone, was chewing her fingernails while staring at the screen. Captain? The captain startled, dropped her hands quickly by her sides, and became composed.
Ah. Thank you so much for coming this morning.
Quick question first.
Of course, but it had better be quick.
Hence why they're called quick questions. Are you a vampire? Are we actually in the game yet? Yeah, we are. We're close. When do you sleep? It's like 5 a.m. When do you sleep?
Interesting question. I've never been asked that before. Like my mother before me, I'm a polyphasic sleeper.
A what?
Yes, sorry. I sleep multiple times a day for shorter periods. Where you might sleep for 7 or 8 hours at once, I will sleep multiple times a day for 2 hours here, 3 hours there.
Unless you have a specific medical condition, that is extremely disastrous for your health. There are people who can literally do that with no downside, though. Why?
My mother taught me to sleep like this. She would tell me that the captain does not have the luxury to clock off for the entire night. The ship must always have a captain ready at any moment, and a well-rested captain is best, be it at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m.
You can't learn that behavior, by the way. The whole thing about Batman doing that is a load of crap. Wow, so you'd sleep like that so you can be ready for anything?
Yes. As the captain, it is my responsibility to take care of this ship and its crew 24 hours a day. And sleeping like this is the most effective way to manage my time and cognitive capabilities.
Isn't that tiring, to always be on the back foot waiting?
I have never known any different, so have very little to compare it to.
So, you've never slept for 8 hours?
Oh yes, of course I have.
Did you prefer that?
Given that I was sedated by Nicholas? No.
We can try it again, what's the harm? What the heck? Why would he sedate you?
I was ill and refusing to not work. He said that he had medicine that would allow me to work better and through my illness. I believed him. Then I woke up almost 10 hours later. Your expression is correct. I was enraged. When I came to, I went to confront him, but Vladimir asked me not to. He explained that everyone was worried and that he only did it to help. So I let it slide, but told him to never do it again.
And then she stopped waterboarding him. I can't believe you let him live.
He had the best of intentions.
And was waterboarded.
Plus, can I tell you a secret?
Here comes the waterboarding part. The captain leaned in and smiled, whispering quietly to me.
I was so ill I couldn't have killed him if I tried.
The captain pulled away and left.
All right, now the reason why you are here.
So hear that, she couldn't even waterboard properly. Yes, I told me it has something to do with the black hole. There was a new patch put out, so the greatest typo of all time may have been fixed.
Yes, that is correct. Just over a week ago, I made the choice to stay on course towards the black hole.
Yes, I remember, and your argument made sense. So what is the problem?
We will be at the closest point to the black hole tomorrow just after 4 a.m. and...
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but in order for that much of a time difference, they have to be doing some sort of gravitational acceleration on the edge of the black hole. So the reason why it would take 76 years is because they're leaving gravity and therefore decelerating and taking an indirect course compared to taking the shorter course with the acceleration due to gravity, the slingshot effect. And Shizuka will handle it. Are you worried that you've made the wrong choice?
People are already dying on my watch. I don't want to sentence the entire crew to death at once.
Then let me be captain for a day. I'll do it. Captain, no one is going to die being this close to the black hole. As Shizuka said, we should miss the event horizon, which as you know is like the point of no return in a black hole. We won't get stuck, we won't die. The captain did not look convinced. My understanding of black holes means that the worst case scenario, while navigating through its gravitational pull, we might experience time dilation, but even then, it shouldn't be observable for us.
Time dilation?
To put it simply, time passes slower for those closer to a black hole than those further away from it. So a day to us might in fact be a year for others further away, but theoretically we shouldn't even notice. The captain was starting to look even more concerned. Nothing I was saying was helping here. Maybe I was making it worse. My father always said that people are like parrots. They love their own reflections and their own voices. Maybe this is what he meant. Here goes. Captain, would you rather have a 100% chance of death or a 50% chance? The captain's worried demeanor quickly melted away, and she turned her glance to me smirking.
Wise words. I wonder where you got them from.
Imitation fortune cookie.
But you are right, and so was I. Not chancing the black hole is a death sentence in itself.
See, all better. No point worrying about what we can't control. We either die from a black hole or a psychotic AI system. Both noble deaths. The captain took a moment looking stern before breaking into a laugh.
Noble indeed. Thank you for the laugh and for your counsel.
You are most welcome. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a bed waiting for me. I made my way back to my bed, waiting for me like a loyal friend ready to embrace me. It was good to be back.